Hello everybody, it's JP, Renee Andrews. I just wanted to give a quick video. I had a friend that I helped refer to VIPKid and she had some questions about successfully teaching trials. This video is pretty ghetto. It's just a camera I'm holding up to one of my monitors, but it's a recording of a successful lesson. And I just go over some of the basic tenets on how to be successful, both teaching your students and getting students to enroll in those trial classes, which can be a great part of your VIPKid teaching career. So as you can see here, this is just a still frame from the beginning of a lesson, a trial lesson. When you open up the info window, it'll say a computer placement test. This student did not have a computer placement test result, but they recommended that we start the student off at in level 2, unit 4. The first couple of slides in a trial lesson are always basically test slides. They give you some basic skills based upon either the computer placement test that the student has taken or the recommendation of the sales representative that's been working with the parents on where the student should begin their trial lesson. Sometimes they're very accurate and other times they're not so much. So if you look at the bottom of each of these slides, there's some small text you can see there, and it gives you information. It says student can blend and read all the words in the sentence, and if they can't complete any tasks, switch to level 1, unit 1. So based upon the level that the student can perform at on these test slides, it helps you know which slides to use when you conduct your lesson. This student, they'd recommended that she begin at 2-4, but when we conducted these couple of intro test slides, she actually didn't recognize any of the letters of the alphabet, and as you can see by her face, she's quite confused. So if you're getting this look during the warm-up slides to figure out which trial lesson you should be teaching, and they're kind of looking at you like you're insane, you are probably teaching them something that's too hard. Here she starts doing a little bit better.
What letter is this?
So as you can see, she does recognize some of her beginning letters of the alphabet, and a lot of Chinese students, even young children, know the alphabet. Obviously, if you remember when you were a little kid, you learned A, B, C, D pretty quickly. When you get into elemental P, Q, R, S, it gets a little bit more confusing. She also recognized a short word, dog, so that's good. That means she probably needs to begin at level 2, unit 1, where she can really get the introduction to all of the letters of the alphabet. So I'll actually, in a moment, you'll see I switch slideshows away from the recommended level 2, unit 4, and down to the level 2, unit 1. With any of these slides, your main goal should be to get students to say even simple, complete sentences. So she recognizes dog. Here I'm trying to prompt the student to say, I see a dog. I don't achieve it until much later.
Here we go. Let's sing. Hello, how are you?
So kids love singing. They love singing. If you could get them to do the hello song, they love it. So break it up though, because a lot of times we try to say hello, how are you, and for someone who doesn't speak English, all they hear is blah 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 blah. So break it up into hello, how are you. Try not to give true entry students, true beginning students, more than 2 syllables at a time initially. And if you're going to teach them longer phrases, just make sure you break them up into 2, maybe 3 syllables at most, and then have them combine the 2 groups of syllables to complete the entire phrase. I always sing the song all the way through first, and then so they can tell that it's a song and they kind of hear what we're trying to achieve. And then I start it over and prompt them to sing it in 2-syllable groups. As you can see, my student's having a much more fun time now that she knows what's going on. We have switched the slides down to the beginning level slides, And she's now having a good time, which is really important in these lessons. Students aren't going to want to learn English if it's miserable, so do your best to smile, which you'll find makes them smile as well. And as long as they're having fun and they feel like they are capable of doing the tasks that you ask from them, they'll participate and oftentimes sign up. I skipped ahead a little bit here to teaching the letters. There's also like a hello exchange where I use some finger puppets to show a conversation. Teaching letters, make sure you have your flashcards ready. It really helps a student interact with you as the teacher and not with an inanimate slideshow. It helps you show big and small, that sort of thing. So make sure that you have your flashcards ready in advance of your lesson. So I always have my ABCD flashcards pulled out, ready to go for any beginning trial lessons. I'd say maybe a little less than half of my trial lessons are for very beginner students. I don't know if that's just me or if that's all people teaching trials. But the goal here, as you can see, again, there's directions at the bottom of the slide, but you're trying to get the student to say big B and small b for the letter B. I also try to get them to replicate the phonics by making sounds like this. And I also try to get them to say a sample word. I don't need them to remember the word, but it's more so they can hear the letter in application in a word. And hopefully say a short sentence like, I see a bear. My student here is doing pretty well. She's saying big and B, not always together. She's saying small and B, not always together. So don't expect miracles during these entry lessons. Try to teach them something though. And be persistent and be positive.
I see a bear.
So this is a very exciting part of the lesson where my student recognizes the word cat, so that's good, something she's comfortable with, though she hasn't said a complete sentence at this point in the lesson. I show her the phonics for the letter C, we introduce the word cat, and by the end of this little segment here, she says, I see a cat. I'm using some modified American Sign Language. I happen to know some sign language and I modify it in the classroom. If you do know some sign language that can be modified for kids, it's a great teaching tool. You can see here I'm using my reward system. That's her third tooth. And here I've skipped ahead to the treacherous can you circle. Your students need to understand can you circle for the future slides in this lesson, so it's imperative that you figure out how to communicate to them. Show them your mouse, show them a circle in the air, do what you have to do, but they need to understand how to circle for the future slides in the lesson. It usually takes them a few seconds to grasp it, but be patient. When you're waiting, use TPR to show them what you're hoping to get them to do. I usually end up showing them my mouse, drawing a circle in the air like this, even showing them myself what I'm asking them to do by drawing a circle on the dotted line. They almost always figure this out. It's very rare that they don't. So just be patient with your student and give them time to show you that they understand what you're asking.
I can.
Another great part about this segment is this is the second time in the lesson where my student Amy here manages to say another complete sentences. She says to me, I can circle, which is it's a good achievement. This is one of those moments where your students surprise you sometimes. Some students actually have more writing experience than they do speaking experience. Some students are great speakers, and it turns out they don't know how to write at all, or they don't know how to spell, or they don't listen well. So your student could have various skill levels at these four different skills: listening, speaking, writing, and reading. So my student here actually is able to write these letters of the alphabet much better than she is able to say them. So this is a surprising moment. She probably came to class with that knowledge. In the next slide, you will see she's asked to recognize some letters here. Those letters, she isn't able to say small or big alongside those letters, and the lesson's running out of time. But the fact that she's able to name the letters at all and she chooses not to say small or big, it's not a big deal. The idea is to make sure that she's still talking. And again, this is another song that the students get to sing at the end. Make sure that they have some fun, that you're doing a lot of smiling.
Very good.
Communication theory says that people really only remember, if you give them 5 points, they're really going to remember the first one and the last one. Same way with sentiments. People remember how they felt at the beginning and how they felt at the end of a presentation. So be sure that when you're interacting with your student that they have a great entry and a great goodbye, and that they're able to say goodbye and smile at you as they say goodbye. That's very important to them and their reflection upon their experience, which could impact whether the student enrolls or not, and more importantly, whether they want to continue to study English and whether English is fun and whether it's something they're good at. So we want to give our students confidence and make them feel good about their lesson. So make sure that you smile when you say goodbye. And if you recall at the beginning of the lesson, this student did not have a computer placement test. When you go to leave your feedback, do not place the student. There is a section where you can choose a level in the unit. Because they don't have a computer placement test, don't do that. The purpose of that function is to either confirm or to negate a computer placement test. So while you should definitely type your feedback to the student, which I'll give you some more information about that later, do not select a level or a unit for this student. So those are my best tips from this trial lesson. It was one I just had today where she happened to sign up right away. So obviously, if you have students of a higher level during your trial lessons, you're going to conduct yourself a lot differently. But I think these are pretty good points overall. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on Facebook. I'm JP Reinhold. And always feel free to leave a comment in the comment section of my YouTube videos. I try to get back to everyone. So goodbye and happy teaching.